Hi y'all. In this video we'll explore using Excel to find the internal rate of return. The internal rate of return is the comparable compound interest rate that would have been needed to make or receive a series of payments. For instance, suppose that you're offered an investment with the following terms. You invest $10,000 now and you receive $1,000 in 1 year, $2,000 in 2 years, and $11,000 in 3 years. What interest rate would you have to earn on this $10,000 to make the two investments equivalent? Let me say that again. What interest rate would you have had to earn on the $10,000 to make the two investments equivalent? That rate is called the internal rate of return. Now I've put that information about the payments into the spreadsheet that you see here and typed in some column headings, including one titled Remaining in the Bank. The idea here is to think about the problem in this way. On the one hand, you have this guaranteed investment that deals in dollar terms. You get the $1,000 after a year, the $2,000 after 2, and the $11,000 after 3. On the other hand, you could put the $10,000 in the bank, and if you put it in the bank, it would earn interest. What interest rate would you have to earn on that $10,000 to be able to make $1,000, $2,000, and $11,000 payments at the appropriate times? That's the rate we're looking for. Notice this is also different from the annuities we did in class because the payments we're seeing here are not equal and wouldn't have to be at regular intervals either. The calculations that we'll need to perform will go in column E under the heading Remaining in the Bank. The idea here is to determine how much is left in the bank after each payment is made, or really after each appropriate time period has passed. We want to keep the time periods equal here for whatever sort of compound interest we're using. For this to make sense, we'll put an interest rate to work with here. And we're going to put it over here in A2. And we're going to start just assuming the interest is 0. Alright. After 1 year, the money in the bank would be $10,000 times 1 plus the interest rate. Alright. So let's deal with that. You'll notice let's look at this real quick. In E2, I have equals C2. That way, if I change the initial payment, it would change over there in E2, but I want to leave E2 alone. Alright, so again, what I want here in E3, well, that should be E2 times 1, the quantity 1 plus the interest rate. And then I have to subtract back off, so that's the original amount plus the amount of interest minus the amount I'm going to pay out. So that's how much would be left in the bank after this is all said and done. I'm going to do one other thing here because the way that I've set this up, this is the appropriate formula to copy down later, but I do want to keep that interest rate in A2 every single time. So I'm going to put dollar signs there around the A2. Hitting enter there, we should see the amount remaining in the bank if 0 interest is earned is $9,000 because I had the original $10,000, it didn't earn any money, and then I subtracted 1,000 off from that. Now, let's actually go back and change that a little bit just to see what will happen. Let's change this to a 5% interest rate, and we see that that's $9,500 left after the first payment. Copying and pasting it down, I have $7,975 left after the second payment, and again, after the $11,000, I have a negative $26,2625 in the bank. What that actually is going to tell me is that the interest rate was too low. Alright, so I would need to change this interest rate, which I could do by guessing and checking for a while. 10% still too low, 15's too high. I'm going to stop that now. But eventually I could guess and check until I got to the right answer. What I want to do is use one of the functions in Excel to do this, and that's the goal seek. In this version of Excel, if I go over the Data tab, the What If analysis, and go down to goal seek, I'm going to find these sets of values. I need to set the cell. Well, what I want to do is I want to set E5 to 0 because if I've exactly run out of money after making the $11,000 payout, then that's really the interest rate I care about. So I want to set E5 to 0 and I want to change the interest rate, which is in cell A2. Clicking OK here should give me the value that I want, about 13.3%. That's the interest rate you'd have to earn there. And if you look at this carefully, you may notice it looks a little strange to you. That 5.56e negative 0.5, that's saying it's 5.56 times 10 to the negative 5th, which is really Excel or calculator speak for 0. Alright, so it got as close as it could to 0. This was not an error. That the Excel can't make it actually any better due to rounding. If there had been an error, it would actually have told you that. Alright, so we see kind of how this internal rate of return works. That's all for this video. Have fun excelling.